All right, kids, so here we are, lesson 8, level 6. Again, our choose your own adventures. And we did A before, and in A, we wanted to kind of count the number of things in an array that matched a certain output that we wanted. In this one, we are going to traverse an array, and we're going to report back the minimum and maximum values in that array. So let's go to the minimum and maximum hours. And we are using this music survey again, so it's not a big deal. Here is the music survey. So just a reminder, the music survey has one private instance variable, which is an array of responses. And each element in this array is a respondent object. Recall the respondents in this example have two attributes. They have hours and effect. So the number of hours that they listen to music per day and the effect it has on their mental health. So each respondent object has these two things that kind of make it up or define it, if you will. I don't think there's anything we have to do. We do have to get hours. We're going to need to use that one to find the max and min. We're going to have to get the hours, but I think everything else is pretty good. So just remember the music survey has this variable, and they've got to create the variable. They've got to create the array, and I just want to remind you again how they do this. Okay, so here is the constructor for the music survey object, and they pass it an hours file and they pass it an effects file. And those two things, they apply the create responses method to it, and they end up setting that equal to the responses. So here is the method. It's a public method that returns a 1D array of respondents. And remember, each respondent has two elements in it, hours and effect. So it's as if this array, each element had two little spots in it, in each box, if you will. And so remember, they take the hours file and turn this into a double array, and they take the effects file and turn that into a string array. And then they create this temporary array that has the same length as the hours file and effects file. And what they do is they're going to populate that array with new respondents. But right now it's empty, or actually each element is null. And then they loop through it. So they start at index 0, and they take 3 for 3, and they take no effect, and they put that in the 0 index spot in that respondents array. And they do that until they get all the spots filled, and they return that temporary responses array. And everything in that array are respondents. So let's find the minimum hours that someone has listened to music. So typically the strategy is to do this. I just want to create a double variable that will be my minimum value, and I want to set the minimum value to the first object in this array. And so that is responses. So I'm going to return, I'm going to set the minimum value equal to response 0, get hours. Let's double check to make sure it was get hours. Get effect, get hours. Yep, so it's get hours. And so what that does for us is that kind of gives us a starting point. And then what we'll do is we'll go through the responses array, and if we find a value that is smaller, we'll replace the min value that we've set right here with that smaller value. So for these are respondent, and I'll call this RR in the responses. we want to take each element and see if it's less than our minimum value. So if rr dot get hours is less than min that we've set up there at in line 40, then I want to set minimum equal to the rr dot get hours. And that's it. I want to return when I'm done whatever that minimum value is. So that's the strategy. When finding a minimum value, set the first element in your array to be that minimum value. And if you go through the array, as you traverse the array, if you find something in that array that is less than the minimum value, make that your new minimum value. So let's do the same thing for maximum. So let's create a double that we'll call max. And I want to set that equal to the first element in the response array. So response 0 dot get hours. That's going to be my new maximum. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly what I did up here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this this for loop, and I'll put it here. And the only thing I want to change, I want to do the same thing. I just want to change this to be greater than max. And if I find an element in the array where the hours is greater than my maximum value that I defined here in line 63, I want to make that my new maximum value. And I'm just going to return whatever that maximum value is. So let's go now to the survey runner. And we need to call the find min hours, find max hour, those methods, and we want to print the results. So I'm going to go system.out.println, and we want to take our responses and we want to find min hours. We'll print that out. And then I want to do the same thing again. I'm going to go ahead and copy it and just put it in the next line. We want to find max hours. All right, let's run it, see if it works. Leave the work or it won't work. And I probably made a spelling error, so what did I do? Response, I think, should probably be responses. Let's take a gander at this in the music. Oh, it is. It is responses. So let's go down here to my work. Responses is good there. Responses is good there. Responses needs to be that. Everything else looks good. Let's run it, try it again. Oh, so there it goes. So I'm assuming my minimum value is 0, my maximum value is 24. And if I look through all these values here, I do see I see a 10, I see a 12, I see a quarter of an hour, another 12, there's a 24. I see nothing greater than 24. And I thought I did see a 0 down here as I was looking. But that seems to have worked. Let's run the test and see if the test holds up. There you go. So that's the general strategy for finding the maximum value or minimum value in an array. And you'll probably have to do that at least on the multiple choice portion of the test in the AP exam, but you could also have to do that in one of the free response questions. So that's something we'll get good at.